Right, dude. How you doing? How's life? What's going on?
It's great to be connected back with you and your community. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well.
Doing amazing, brother. How's how's everything residing in the ether, my friend?
Everything is beautiful. Yeah, I've been putting in a lot of work, man. I've been working on a new course that'll be dedicated to decoding, kind of a crash course for beginner level decoders, get people, a solid foundation able to determine how this code actually works and hopefully answer a lot of the frequently asked questions that I receive day to day.
Excellent, excellent. Dude, I have to say, just sitting back and witnessing you go to work has been relatively impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of the people here have also witnessed you be fairly accurate in the most recent XRP uptrend, as well as just getting things right as far as events and the crypto market. And it's honestly kind of frightening, to see. Dude, I'm like, gee, is this dude an oracle? Has he broken free? What's going on? So it's great to have you here. Just to review for people that haven't been paying attention, WatersAbove was over here calling for massive events to take place in early to mid March. Boom, banking crisis occurred. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. Yet again, recently he was calling the XRP uptrend almost to a T. So something I'll ask you, dude, how are you doing this? What's going on here? What type of voodoo are you performing to?
Well,
uh,
I think it circles back to our last chat where let me know if you could hear me well, by the way.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, I think it circles back to our last chat, where we were.
But back to what we were trying to discuss, dude. Uh, over the past 2 months, just was witnessing you do what you do from afar has been fairly frightening and impressive. And I kind of want to start with a prediction you had made in early March about some form of event coming, some type of ritual coming, if you will. And what ended up happening was the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and ultimately Signature and Silvergate. Can you explain how you were able to know that something like that was coming?
Well, I think there's a lot of writing on the wall. There's so much going on in the economy right now that's never really happened before at this scale, at this magnitude since 2020 and 2021 with the Fed printing to oblivion. So I think we all kind of had a feeling that something was on the horizon. But with the decoding methodology that I do, I saw a big significance pointing to March 10th being the 69th day of the year, and a
Mm,
lot of this came from Bitcoin hitting 69,000 all-time high. And since it hit that all-time high back in November of 2021, I was just seeing that number 96 and 69 happening over and over and over again in my decodes.
mm,
So when we started to approach that day, well, it was a lot more in depth than just that number. I was
mhm,
talking a lot about the number 10 as well, and how in my decoding methodology, the number 10 was tied back to Mars, which is the god of war. And this, of course, has some negative implications to it. And we saw what happened with this particular bank. And I think it's funny how, if you look at the address of their headquarters at Silicon Valley Bank, it's 3003. That's 33, right? And we see those 33s happen all the time when it comes to these like elite rituals that happen. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Really, it doesn't, that this was one of those banks to be taken out. And what's funny about it all is I released a decode back it's probably back in January, and it was about the Super Bowl because a lot of people wanted me to do a decode Super Bowl would win. I ended up picking the Chiefs before the event happened, again using my decoding methodology. And one of the big things that I was focused on was how the San Francisco 49ers, their whole season was coded with a lot of repetition and numbers. And when they lost their last game to the Eagles, I saw a huge connection to Silicon Valley. So it's funny that I had this Silicon Valley thing in the back of my mind a lot ever since I made that decode going back to January. That was before me and you even connected.
Mhm.
So this decode went super deep, really to the origin of the term Silicon Valley. And I had all these slides, but I never put it into the final decode because what was the point of me talking about the 49ers when we have the Eagles and Chiefs going against each other? But I had all those slides and I talked about it in live streams, podcasts, and YouTube videos that I did, showing how the San Francisco 49ers were coded to lose their last game in the playoffs. And anywho, I talked about it a lot, and now that we've had this event occur, I mean, it's brought a lot more attention to my work, but really it was
Mhm.
just the way that this setup has been on the world stage, getting people to be scared and frightened and kind of feel this sense of a lack of security and safety in the banking sector. And now this pivots to where I think me and you had our last conversation about Tether, right?
Mhm.
And how it's one of those look here, don't look there psyops. And I look at Tether as part of this psychological operation to get people feel a lack of safety in it, when in actuality, it's all the other stuff that might be less safe. And this is what we last talked about, right? But
Mhm.
we also saw another event happen tied to that Silicon Valley Bank thing, which was the initiation of the depegging of USDC and DAI. This was considered a safe stable coin, something that was very, positive and lots of good publicity. Most people would consider it a safe haven against Tether. And we could
Mhm.
see how fragile that these stables are. And I just bring all of this up because it proved a lot of what I was trying to say over the last 6 months. And it definitely proved where me and you left off in our last conversation.
Mhm.
When they create an event, it's going back to the Hegelian dialectic, like order out of chaos, problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah.
So their first event that tips the first domino in this domino effect, it's always to instill fear. And when they have fear in retail, this makes you make shitty decisions, right? You make
Mhm.
bad choices, you overanalyze, and the way that you analyze is compromised. So I teach my people, you got to be aware that when you get too much popular FUD, that's a good sign for you to look the other direction. When you get too much popular, positive information or positive advertisement from the powers that be, that's a sign you want to go the other direction. So it's just to me the starting point and the unfolding of things that will start to ramp up as we get to the middle of May of this year into
Mhm.
October of this year. And I made my last decode. It was called Sell in May and Go Away Decoded. And it was dedicated to how I feel about the month of May, as well as kind of the precursor to what's to come in October. So
Mhm.
if I could revisit one more thing that me and you talked about in our last conversation was about an event that could occur specifically to the crypto market that would influence XRP to not only be stable but potentially positive. And I talked about this entire shitcoin market getting washed out.
Mhm.
So that was another thing that I feel is bringing me back to this October concept of what's to come in this market potentially in the fall time. And I
Mhm.
see it boding very positively for Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and maybe one or two other stable coins. But a lot of other things are probably going to go through a ritual. And that ritual is purely to bring in regulation. It's purely to bring in more control. It's purely to uh, start to unfold the carpet of an infrastructure that you and your community are quite aware of already.
Mhm. Powerful. And for those people at home that are sitting listening in for the first time to Waters Above, hearing about decodes and Super Bowls, and you're thinking, what the hell is going on? I'll give you a little context. Waters Above is one of the very few analysts that I've been aware of that actually got 2022 correct, right? And you were able to accurately trade and profit from the collapses of both Terra Luna and then FTX, right? You, to a certain degree, you knew bad events like that was coming. And I'm going to be very honest with everyone. I don't care if someone's over here performing seances while doing backflips. If you're over here trading this market correctly and making some damn money and using the moon in order to fucking figure out when the bottoms are going to be in and it's right, I don't give a damn. You're coming on here and you're telling the world about it. right? So that's why Waters Above is here. I do not care what his methods are. I don't. My man has been right. So just some context, my friend.
Well, I
So
really appreciate you. I really appreciate you for being honest also in the last interview that we had. And I gave a shout out to you on a live stream that I did where I was talking about that, how grateful I was for you to have me on and spread my truth and not silence any of the concepts that I had. Regardless of your skepticism in my decoding, you were also allowing all of that conversation, but as well as some of my theories about the overall market and the
mhm,
infrastructure of our economy. And for you to be so honest and direct showed me that you're a real one, and there's a mutual respect there from creator to creator, and that's why I'm back on.
much
Because
love, brother.
I wouldn't take another interview with somebody if their mind was closed. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful to have this communication and be able to collaborate, because I think that's what it's really all about. Trust me, brother. You know how many people out there are on-chain analysts, and also they might do TA in a way that I don't personally do it, and I don't have the energy to go into that stuff, but I still leverage on them and their expertise and what they're aware of, their gnosis, and I allow it into my spectrum, because I feel like that's how we get better as a community. When we
Yes, yes.
merge our skills is how we expand. So I'm open to all of the methodologies. I just have that esoteric position, and that's what I brought to the world for cryptocurrency and finances. I brought a more esoteric perspective, but I'm not living in la la land. Like, I'm
Mm,
completely aware of what's happening on the world stage. I'm
yeah.
completely aware of it. So I always try to center myself in the present moment and have one foot in the matrix and one foot out of the matrix, whatever that means to you. It's just my way of saying that there is a driving force to this market that is much bigger than what you could possibly comprehend. And then there's also an exoteric side of things called retail investors, Twitter, YouTube influencers, etc., that push that side of the market, which is sentiment. You
Mm,
need to be aware of the emotions of the
yes.
investors to be able to situate yourself comfortably and conservatively in investments that you look at as long-term investments. So I like to keep my mind open to it all, but there's definitely respect there for you having me on and sharing my truth. It means a lot to me.
Of course. And something else that I do want to touch into today is whatever event that may be coming. Uh, Typically, I don't think things are coincidental. I'm very much a believer that massive financial changes are accompanied with uh, massive black swan style events. For example, when the Federal Reserve was put into place, the next year World War I began, right? When the first Bretton Woods happened, that was towards the end of World War II. And over here, we're witnessing massive conflicts and tensions rising in Ukraine, Russia, and potentially Taiwan down the road, and the de-dollarization with Saudi Arabia and China and the yuan and Brazil now, and France is over here trialing all these things, and the US is, in my opinion, gearing up to combat a lot of this. So I always believe that massive tensions begin rising as a distraction away from the big financial events that they do want to put into place. So I'm
Correct.
just curious to know your take on that specific topic that I brought up, and when do you
Yeah.
see things playing out?
Absolutely. So that was a big motivator behind my last decode that I released, Sell in May and Go Away, because I was bringing in connections that you actually just brought up one about the Federal Reserve being created in 1913.
Mhm.
And then the year later, that kind of stuff. Well, the year before the Federal Reserve was put in place, not a full year, but you feel me. In 1912, on April 15th, we had the sinking of the Titanic.
Yeah,
Now,
dude, I
everyone
was
should know by
about to
now.
bring that up. I was about to
Yeah.
bring that up too. That's
Mhm.
powerful. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so I included that in my decode, and what's wild is not only was I getting into the decode of the actual event that happened on the world stage, but I brought in the Titanic movie as part of this. This is how coded our reality is. And again, it's not really that woo woo. Like, I'm using exoteric popular shit to decode. I'm not like, this isn't like drawing circles on the ground in blood. This is just taking stuff that has happened and connecting the dots. You feel me?
Mhm.
So what happened with that event in April 15th of 1912, the sinking of the Titanic, it led to pretty much getting rid of the people who were against the Federal Reserve System. Now that's the conspiracy, right? But we see how things ended up. We're here 100 years later and we have the proof. So 111 years ago was that event, and that 111 number is very powerful. And this April 15th that we're approaching in less than 2 weeks will be 111th year anniversary of that event. And I think it's pretty wild if you look at the date numerology behind all of it. April 14th, the day before, which is the day that the Titanic started sinking, was the
Mhm.
same day that Bernie Madoff died. And Bernie Madoff was part of that '08 crisis. And if you start
Okay.
looking into the numerology behind that event, you'll see that the Lehman Brothers were a big part of this whole, show. And the Lehman Brothers failed on September 15th, 2008. And Rosh Hashanah this year is September 15th. There's no coincidence. And Rosh Hashanah doesn't have the same year every year. It changes year by year because of the moon cycles. Now, if people don't believe in the moon cycles, well, there's a whole religion in the world that does. So this new year that they have it correlates very accurately with some of the biggest pullbacks and market crashes that we've had historically, going back to 100 years of market data.
Mhm.
So now I'm not taking the fall time off my radar for a possible next big financial event, specifically because we have that September 15th connection to Lehman Brothers. We have that Titanic 111-year anniversary. It's all around this year. It's all coded into this year. So I feel like we need to be open-minded to whatever bullish energy that we're getting right now. I think will be short-lived. I think it'll be a bull trap. And I think we will get rejected off of this energy. It will be noticeable by June. And into September and October, we're probably going to have a very big event. Now, I can't say if it's going to be isolated to finances, because you're probably smart enough to see that they like to do their rituals across the board with other things, geopolitical events, wars, etc. So it
Mhm.
could literally be something like that. It could just be some military driven reason to bring the markets down, or it could be an invasion of another country, whatever. This is a move they like to pull all the time. So yeah, I feel if we're gonna kind of be open minded to this time we're in right now, it's like what a time to be alive, right? Because we have this awareness of something, and we're watching it unfold year by year. And anyone who's been following my work over the past 2 years, you've seen how we've been able to determine all of these things going down. Even the rise of the USD, the DXY, which was something that I was very adamant about against what everyone else believed, because of the talking heads saying that gold is going to go to 4,000 and silver is going to go to 100 and the dollar is going to die. And I was telling people that the Shemitah and the Jubilee have everything to do why the dollar will go up and why all global currencies will become weaker against the dollar. And we
Mhm.
watched that happen. We watched that happen a year after I said it.
Mhm.
So we saw the lowest ever British pound. We saw the lowest ever euro. I mean, undeniable stuff here. So the US dollar, the DXY, I'm not calling it good. It's the cleanest dirty laundry. But when we get persuaded into these emotional speakers on mainstream media, even with Kitco News, they were respectable influencers essentially for proper financial analysis and data and having like the cutting edge analysts and people on. But it's just another tentacle of the octopus of all financial mainstream media going to Jim Cramer and him, his antics. So I want people to wake up that there's so many skills you can develop to be a little bit more attuned to how this show actually works. And once you take a step back and look at the events that have happened in the past and how they've affected finances, you can see much more clearly how everything has been going just in your lifetime and how it's all synchronized together. So
Mhm.
it's time for us to realize the synchronism of it all. And I feel, based on all the research that I've done this far, this May into this October will probably be one of the best opportunities in our lifetime to accumulate. It's not
Mhm.
financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but as I say, buy the blood, buy the boredom. Now that the market's getting exciting, I could tell that we're in a very interesting territory. One last thing I'll say, it's kind of like a joke, but back when XRP was 30 cents and I was talking about how this is a good opportunity, nobody was asking me where to buy it. Now that it's 40 to 50 cents, people are like, where do I buy XRP? And I think that's really funny how people wait till it gets exciting and now they want to join the party.
Mm,
So
yeah.
everyone that's listening here, you need to tune in. Like, the sentiment is everything in this market. If you're starting to get excited when everyone else is getting excited, then you're in the wrong party. Like, you want to be early. And I think for XRP, when you look at that particular project against all projects, you're all very early. We're all very, very, very early. But what I feel has been making people in the XRP community continue on this cycle of not taking action and not profiting, as you mentioned earlier, I've been one of the people that's been candid about when I'm taking profits, and I've been successful in that, and the charts prove it. Well, it's because I see clearly that this coin isn't quite ready to do what a lot of people believe it will do. And I have, a lot of methodology that I've shared with the world for free on YouTube so they could utilize it themselves. But through
Mm,
all the disbelief and through all of the people that have been quite angry at my analysis on this project, we still see the results and we still keep seeing how it's unfolding. And I just want people to really wake up to this, because this project will be, it will have a very incredible ROI, price discovery moment. But for now, you kind of have to just be like open minded that it's perfect environment for them to be swinging your sentiment back and forth, making people believe things that aren't necessarily true, having them follow riddles on Twitter. And it's like, it's all fun and games, but when you're unable to actually profit off of the thing, then it's a waste. What's the point? What's
mm,
really the point? And I believe that's why a lot of more people have become illuminated to my work and are starting to take my methods a little bit more seriously and apply them for themselves. Because there is a way to be in XRP and be handsomely profitable. And all the other cryptos, whether we're in a bull market or a bear market, doesn't really matter. There is so much opportunity. So if we're talking about long-term opportunity, I think into this October, it will be beautiful. It'll be scary for everyone else, but it'll be beautiful for those who know.
yes. And there's a lot to unpack from what you just said, but I'm going to do my best to put it all together. So, first and foremost, I think the point that you made about selling may go away is one, exciting, but two, also frightening for a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people have been over here holding cryptos for a long time. A lot of people really want to see certain things happen, and myself included, right? But you're very, like, you've made it a specific analysis that you're trying to execute right now, and part of the reason for that is because of some events that you think may happen in April 20th and also early May, like May 5th ish, I believe that's what you've
That's
stated.
correct.
Can you go into what exactly you're seeing with the energies of the planets or the moons or whatever it is you're seeing?
Absolutely. So, just to be super simple, April 20th will be a solar eclipse, and May 5th, just 2 weeks later, will be a lunar eclipse. And the reason everyone needs to take this very, very seriously is because Bitcoin runs the energy of this entire market. And when Bitcoin enters a lunar cycle, we will see bear markets. When Bitcoin enters a solar cycle, we will see the start of a reversal uptrend into a bull run. These processes take about 3 years. So we entered a lunar cycle back in May of 2021, and this was the end of that alt season. Of course, Bitcoin dipped, it came back up a little bit, it finished off in November. I believe also Ethereum followed, but you can see that most of the altcoins just had their blow off tops back into April of 2021. And then they've
Mhm.
been on a downtrend since, losing about 95% of their value. That happened after Bitcoin entered a lunar cycle. Now, if you go back into all the other starts of lunar cycles since Bitcoin's inception, it's the same thing that happens. Okay. So we are actually moving into a solar cycle this April 20th. This moment right here is very, very important because, as all of the prior iterations of this, Bitcoin gets sucked up into the start of a solar cycle. It's exactly the same right now. We've seen a break of that 25K zone exactly when we saw it on the last iteration going back to 2019, and exactly on the prior iteration, which goes back to 2014, 2015. So now that we have that information, we need to really tune in to the power of lunar eclipses, which the next one will be on May 5th. Now, if you go back to the prior lunar eclipse we had, that was in November. Bitcoin went another leg down right at that moment, and it went to 15,000. Not only did that happen, but we saw FTX do what it did. So the FTX ritual happened with Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTT token. You go to the lunar eclipse that happened before that, and you saw Terra Luna pretty much go to zero, and Do Kwon and all the stuff that happened with that company. You
Mhm.
go to the lunar eclipse before that, and that was the start of the real noticeable downtrend in the entire crypto market. Bitcoin was already topped out at 69,000, and then it started to break into 50, into 40,000, into 30, etc. That was all on that eclipse. Lunar eclipses are no fucking joke in this market. Now, if we're talking about every other market, precious metals, indices, tech stock, whatever, that's not the conversation here. You're here for crypto. Specifically, you want to know that Bitcoin is the power plant of this entire market. When Bitcoin enters a lunar cycle, we have downtrends and it gets bloody for the alts. So this is actually good news because we're moving into a solar cycle like 17 days. But the problem here is we don't just move up in a straight line after that. We have like a stability and a recovery energy, and it needs to have some recuperation. So, with all of this in plain English, I do not feel so good about this next lunar eclipse just because of how lunar eclipses have been going in the past. But I could also admit that because we're entering a solar cycle and we're no longer in a lunar cycle, perhaps this next lunar eclipse won't be as devastating as the prior two. You
Mm.
know, I don't think we're going to see like USDC depeg on May 5th. Like, I don't think it's going to be as epic as that. So because I'm so open-minded to this specific data point, and I'll re-say it, we're entering a solar cycle, but we have lunar eclipses pretty much being negative and really negative in a lunar cycle. We're transiting energy. And this is the easiest way to simplify it. I'm not getting into the astral charts. I'm not talking about Mercury and retrograde and all that other shit. Like, I'm keeping it stupid simple right now for you guys.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. And I hope that this all makes sense.
Mhm.
So this is why I feel we're gonna be moving up generally into this May timeframe. We might even extend past it into like May 17th, May 19th, which is the next new moon. And as I teach, new moons are pretty bullish. But then after that, I really am starting to feel that there will be destabilization in the entire market nearest the end of May. And that goes along with that exoteric sell in May and go away, which that's been heard by everyone across all markets. And I feel we have some local proof that Bitcoin also likes to sell off in May, because if you look at the charts of May of 2022, what did we see? We saw a massive shakeout to the downside. Bitcoin entering 20K for the first time since what, two and a half years? And then if you go to May of 2021, that was where Bitcoin folded over from 60,000 down to 30,000. So Bitcoin lately has been selling off in May like clockwork. This iteration, I don't see being any different. And now, with this being said, if Bitcoin has a pullback, that means everything else pulls back. There will be nothing isolated. Bitcoin runs this market. So I know a lot of XRP people are here, but you got to swallow any pride if you're getting offended of what I'm saying, because I'm really trying to help you right now. It's why I'm talking about me personally de-risking into this upcoming April 20th, May 5th timeframe, because I don't feel so great about this market moving into the summer and especially into the fall time. So if I can get rid of the I would call it like, what terminology would you use? Like not leveraged.
Exuberance,
No, I would just say like if you're overexposed
overexposed,
to the
over.
crypto, yeah, if you're overexposed to the crypto market based in where you're at with your finances, with your wealth plan, with the cash flow you generate, business, job, whatever you have going on in your life, this is an opportunity to just play the cycle. So I am just looking to de-risk my XRP, but I'm going to be putting it right back into XRP and whenever the market comes back to where I want it to, you
Hmm.
know? So I'm not like trying to make money off of this. I'm trying to grow my bag. And now if you're somebody who needs to make money off of this, well, then you really want to perk up your ears right now, because I don't see XRP entering price discovery potentially until like August of 2024. And
Hmm.
again, this is all based on astrology. This is all based on the way that Bitcoin cycles work. And Bitcoin is above XRP in the hierarchy of energy in this market. It just is. And we have proof of that because of no price discovery back in 2021. Well, a lot of shit coins even went into price discovery, sadly. But now that we've seen the way that XRP is so tied to retail and the shit that goes on with retail, specifically with the SEC case, now it's showing me that we need to get through that energy. And if Bitcoin, believe it or not, was to break into price discovery next time, I would think that would be synchronized perfectly with the ending of all of this lawsuit stuff and XRP being unleashed, if I had to give it a term. But
Hmm.
there's time to go for that. So, for me, I've looked at all of these opportunities based on the knowledge that I have to just get out of the game before the music stops playing. It's like musical chairs. And I think the music's about to stop soon.
Hmm. That's powerful. So for everyone at home, that may be lukewarm to hear, but it's the reality of what he's been able to see, right? So April 20th, May 5th, especially. April 20th is you kind of saying we're going to be entering into a more bullish time, but not really yet because we still have a bumpy road. And then May 5th, you believe there will be some type of retracement and maybe we have a little more positive momentum for a week or two afterwards.
Correct. What happens when we enter a solar cycle is the lunar eclipses, which are typically negative for the crypto market, aren't as powerful.
Okay.
Now, when they become weaker, that helps us overall in maintaining trend. And by the way, guys, this is proven in the charts. So I hope that people maybe watch like my last 2 or 3 videos that I put out on YouTube, and it's going to expose a lot of this stuff. I actually, even in my last podcast that I did over on my Patreon, I went pretty deep into the mechanisms behind this. And with Bitcoin, we have a ton of data. With XRP, we also have a ton of data because that was trading back in 2014 as well, and we could see it. You know, so the super cycle that we see in markets like XRP has actually accomplished that. There was a time where it was a fraction of a penny. I think a lot of people forget that.
Hmm.
It's already had like a badass run. I'm not saying that it's over. Remember the last conversation that me and you had, I said that I see $15, potentially even 22 as a next move up. I believe that might have influenced a little bit of your work moving forward since that last interview.
For
I
real,
don't
bro.
see these dramatics 100, 200, 589 shit that people talk about. That's just memery. But when we're looking at this coin, it already did have an incredible run. Like it really did. In 2017, it went from 0.005 to $3.30 within a year. I mean, that's insane. 60,000% gains in less than a year.
Hmm.
So it's had a super cycle. Like it's had an incredible run. Like how long did it take Amazon to go up 60,000%?
Mm.
Like that's an established company that actually is used by the world. XRP is barely used.
Mm.
I mean, I know it will be used. It's a technological layer for the central banking and banking infrastructure of our globe. But overall, you know what I mean? Like if we think of this, the people that are expecting much, 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 much more, it's a dream, And if we were to be moving up to like $15 in the next cycle, we're looking at 40 something cents right now, 50 cents right now. So it's still an amazing opportunity. I just think that for now we have to be, kind of cautious, kind of got to be a little bit cautious about our belief and be a little bit more realistic.
Yes. Okay. So kind of to bring it back to everything that you had stated about the XRPs, the Bitcoin being the leader of the energy and things like that, but specifically the DXY, because that's something that I've been humbled by in the past and also have been very aware of in the present. Where do you think the DXY is going in the next couple months?
Let me pull up that chart and see what I'm seeing because I haven't done an analysis on it in a minute.
Sure.
Here we are. We're looking at the DXY. It's on a daily chart. I had this curve line that was in play that ended about October of 2022, and we've broken through that pattern. And since, if you actually look at this whole chart structure, this is a very long-term chart we're looking at. I have a Fibonacci retracement pulled from December 2016 down to the selling pressure into 2018. And we've been in that horizontal trading range up until 2022. When we broke out of it, we hit the 1618. Now, technically, this is very important to start off this whole analysis with, because that's your golden ratio. That level right there and us getting rejected out of it shows me that now we're clearly in a phase. It's like a contraction phase, but this overall is very bullish looking chart. This chart goes from 2016 to 2022, and this whole structure, horizontal trading range, is bullish AF. I mean, we could even include this data going back to 2015. It's still in this horizontal trading range. So us breaking bullish and hitting this exact target, and now with this retest we're in now, holding the top of this golden pocket, to me, this looks very good. And this is where I like to start off most of my analysis if I can, if I have the data. So I'll zoom in now and we could see we've had a pretty decent sell-off, about 12%. And in the dollar, that's a lot. You know, that's definitely a lot. But this local pattern I'm getting is a W. It's a very bullish, this W type pattern. You can see the neckline sitting somewhere around 105. And if you perceive a W as having one V and two Vs, if this second V is a higher low, so you have your low here at 101.3 and your second low at 102, this looks like a bullish setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line here that's showing me the neckline. This is kind of freestyling, by the way. So if it's not going to be super specific,
Absolutely.
but it's giving you an idea. So right
I
now,
find that to be even more impressive because this is genuinely you figuring it out on the fly and with all your knowledge. So I think this is better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've toggled off logarithmic scale and I'm on linear right now, and I've drawn my neckline. I think the neckline's pretty fair because we have a little bit of action here before the breakdown. We have a test there before a further lower low. Then we have a kind of this kickback, rejection, fake out. And now that we've pulled back and we're holding these levels, it's looking pretty good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull a more exaggerated measured move from the bottom of this touch point to the local high in the microstructure. I'm going to pull that up to the neckline. And to me, this shows the next move is 110. If this can start closing like 3-day, 5-day candles, even a weekly candle, I believe that the next move would be up to 110. Now, another thing I could do is I could bring in some moving averages into this. And let me see what I got going. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my drawings now. This yellow moving average is the 8 simple moving average. This white moving average is the 55 simple moving average. When this crosses below this is a sign of bearish, and we have to recover that cross again in order for us to anticipate a buyback or some bullish price action. So just consider that for now. But as I zoom out, the last time that we had this cross to the downside was back in November 9th, and you could see what it led to, guys. Look at how beautiful that cross indicator is. It crossed bullish back here in February 22nd, and this shit rallied all the way up 20% for 220 days. Then when we get it on the opposite direction, we peel back. So this is my favorite cross to use for people who are new to TA. It's the 55 and the 8 simple moving average. I call it the wolf cross because my community, I call them the wolf pack. And yeah, I just love this cross. Don't be a bull, don't be a bear, be a wolf. Follow the moon.
And for everyone at home wondering why I'm getting into this, the DXY, had I just looked at that chart all of 2022, I would have been able to tell all of you, yeah, it's going to be a shitty year for crypto, right? And that's something that I didn't take as seriously as I do now. So with WatersAbove over here saying, yes, we have corrected quite a bit from the top in 2022. However, it looks like we're beginning to go into bullish territory with the DXY. That's another indicator that helps with his analysis of the overall energy of the market, saying, yeah, we need to sell, it may go away because things are looking to go up for the DXY, to put it simply. And while that's frustrating for people to hear, that's the reality. But something I'm a little confused of, my friend, and maybe
Mhm.
you can answer this, and a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing.
Yes.
In our last interview that we had, you are not as bearish on the dollar as I am, and you're not as bearish on the dollar as a lot of other people are. The dollar
Yes.
is over here getting a lot of bad news recently. You know, the BRICS nations, Saudi Arabia, China seems to be rising, and the world seems to be pivoting over to the yuan at the moment.
Mhm.
What do you make of that narrative? Um,
I don't pay attention to narratives. I look at charts.
mm,
The charts tell me the truth, and people who talk and make posts and talk.
that's
I'm looking at one of the most bullish horizontal trading examples of all time.
yes.
I mean, look at how gorgeous this is. Look at this back test at the neckline. If you just look at where my cursor is on this recent peak sell-off, which almost looks like a blow-off top, you can see two clear things. One, we prior back tested before we ended that rally. And two, it's the direct neckline of a pattern that's going since 2016. So all in all, I feel that we don't have to really get too bearish on this until maybe like 2025. After 2024, yeah, then I'd be more open-minded to thinking about this thing peeling down into like the 90s and maybe even taking another leg lower. But as for now, this is looking really solid.
Mm.
And I could continue my analysis on this if you'd like to prove more as to why I feel like this is good for now.
Sure, please do. But the reason I bring it up is because it's more or less a question to you as to why is it that it's being perceived that the dollar is getting weaker by the world, but in reality, the charts are telling us something else. Because I do believe that the world is de-dollarizing right now. Right, this is the whole foundation for my hypothesis for why I believe XRP will be used at some point down the road. Right.
Yeah.
Now, that probably gets into 2024, 2025 as well. However, why is it that the negative press and the de-dollarization is beginning now? And what is the analysis behind why is it, let me phrase this better. Why is it that we see all these countries leaving now, yet the dollar seems to be getting stronger relative to all these other currencies? What is going on behind that?
Because the global elite have separate ledgers. They have the ledger that they show you, and then they have the ledger that they only show their bloodline. They
Mm,
have the news that they share with you, and then they have the secrets that they keep and that they only tell each other in their little gatherings that they have.
mm,
So, with this being said, I mean, I think we just have to be a little bit more open to the time frame. And one thing to remind everyone of is the elite have something that you don't have, and that's called infinite time.
mm.
You guys, on the other hand, retail, it's like you're always trying to buy more time. You want everything yesterday. You want instant gratification. You want it all to like, even me as as somebody who decodes and uses analysis in any capacity, it's hard for me sometimes to step away from it all and just be patient and to look at everything neutrally. Because when we have a bias, we tend to analyze through that bias. And as we do that, that's not really how to analyze anything, you know. So as we break free from some of the belief patterns that we have, and we just see things clearly and try to analyze it clearly without any bias, we start to get much better ability to analyze with accuracy, and the patience and the reward and all of that meets at that apex. So for me, I think we just have to be a little bit more patient to the collapse of the dollar. It's going to happen. Just be more patient. And what we're seeing happen now is the starting point of some issues, but it's not that we isolate the dollar. We look at all things across the board. So I think the global elite are ramping up to wash out the crypto market completely, but then put that money back into the blue chips. They're also getting ready to wipe out a lot of these nonsense tech companies that have no
Mm.
use case and no actual working project behind them. This is all in transition, and it's moving us into specifically next year. And I think next year we will have a lot of clarity on what's to come for the future globalist economy that's being laid out slowly. There's a lot of narratives though about how like China is going to become the world's superpower and how they're going to do this, that, and the third, and it's all going to be like dominating and taking over. I believe the complete opposite. I believe China is a very weak country with weak people. No offense, I'm not trying to offend anyone if you're Chinese. I'm speaking on the narratives concept about this idea of them taking over the world and the digital yuan taking over and this, that, and the third. I don't buy any of that stuff. I think that that is all just a psyop to get people to be too early to make moves on something, and that would prevent them from taking action and making immense wealth in the process. They want to scare people all the time. And as I said earlier, they have what they do in the background, and then they have what they decide to show you, what they decide to reveal to you. Those are not the same, you know? So we need to be open, a little bit open, more open-minded, but also just be more patient. I hope I answered that though.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I understand what you mean. It's like from what we're seeing now, it seems like it's going to happen yesterday. But
Yeah.
in reality, when things do come, they won't be as bad and they'll take longer than we expect. So it makes sense. And for everyone at home, that's why I asked the question, because I know plenty of you guys probably had the same one.
Remember, Michael Burry was early on his
Yeah.
call.
Oh,
He was
very
right.
early.
He was right, but he was so early that he looked wrong
Yeah.
until he was right. Now, recently, Michael Burry, excuse me, recently, Michael Burry is like a clown. You know, he's clearly a bought agent that just spreads his misinformation on Twitter, and now he's it's just known. You know, you can't you could delete all your tweets if you want, but when you become famous, people are going to save your tweets. And this type of, this type of being early thing and then eventually being right, it doesn't always mean if you're always early, you're always going to be right. I hope you know what I'm saying right now.
Yes.
Like, I know that might sound confusing, but the people that are waiting and waiting and waiting for the day that never comes, like, sure, eventually you'll be right. But in the meantime, like, look at all the opportunity that you're letting slip through your fingers like sand.
Mhm.
So we can be creating a investment thesis and a wealth plan behind the collapse of the dollar and what to do to respond to that collapse. But I am not buying it right now. And I wasn't buying it back in 2020 or 2021 or 2022 when I was hearing the same people saying the same thing. And guess what? You know who was saying that? People that worked and made profit off of selling gold. They worked for precious metals companies. It was the same people that were given the same microphone, and it was a hot microphone, and it was spread through the algorithm. It's the same people. No offense to them, but if I hear people who also sell gold coins and are working with companies that sell precious metals, and they're pushing this narrative about the death spiral of the dollar, and they've been doing it year after year after year, well, guess why they're doing it? Because it's part of their fucking business model. Like,
Mhm.
this is how business works. Like, you scare people out of one thing to get them into your thing, right? Like, that's
Mhm.
how all nutrition worked and diet plans. They tell you keto sucks, do this. This diet sucks, do this. And that's how they sell you into stuff. So I don't buy any of that shit. Like, I see clearly what's happening here, and I didn't see clearly until I personally learned how to decode. So it's been immensely helpful for me to be more open to this more conscious and spiritual perception of how markets operate. You know, as JP Morgan once said, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do.
It's powerful. Oof, man. Now, to the part that a lot of people have been asking about, Bitcoin specifically has been fascinating me. I've been enjoying seeing the uptrend recently to 29K, I believe we reached. Where do you see the upper limits of where we're gonna go in between now and this sell and may go away cycle? Because I think personally, I believe that it could hit that 35 to maybe even somewhere in the 45K mark, depending on how much momentum we have. But I'm curious to know from how you see it, because
Absolutely.
the more money that pours into Bitcoin, the more that I believe could trickle down into some of these alts for us to be able to take more profits from.
Yeah. So my perspective on the Bitcoin relief rally that we're seeing unfold is that we have been at a very critical level this 382 fib. So for people who are unaware, I just pulled a Fibonacci retracement tool from the current all-time high of 69,000 down to the cycle low at about 15,500. I'm looking at a logarithmic chart, and that my setting, if I scroll down to the bottom, I have this fib levels based on log scale setting turned on. This is for much more macro analysis if you're looking at multi-year timeframes. So with the methodology that I use, once you break above the 382 and you start to solidify macro candle closures above those levels, that's where you anticipate your next move up, which is naturally the 0.5 fib. The 0.5 fib is a very important level because if you get rejected there and you start to reverse down, that's where you see weakness, and you could even have like a dead cat bounce scenario. So that's just basic like introductory TA. Now, with cryptocurrency, we always like to be a little bit more volatile, a little bit more extended past the typical TA that you would utilize for like a stock, let's just say. So in plain English, when I look at prior iterations of the Bitcoin cycle at this exact stage, we actually do make it into this territory between the 618 and 786, which is called the golden pocket. And if I go back to this last cycle, I could show you very clearly, I have a fib pulled the same exact way from this swing high to this swing low, and you see where Bitcoin went up into. By the way, that was the first solar eclipse of the solar cycle. You see what Bitcoin did? Perfection. Right into that eclipse, and then it folded over, and it even went into a deeper correction because of that black swan event, C19 event. So again, getting back to specifically how high will Bitcoin go, you have this target area right there, 618 to 786. And just to be fair, I'm making sure that I have the same setting. It's a log scale chart, fib levels based on log scale checked on. Now, if you go back to the last cycle, you actually see something a little bit different, but we do get a push up into this 0.5 fib. We held sideways on this 382 fib for a while, and then we shot up to the top of the golden pocket. And then we just maintained a beautiful uptrend over and over again. I mean, this was honestly probably the easiest bull run to be a part of as a technical analyst. I wish I fucking knew. Like, I wish I was invested in this market back then, because I could have played this market so simply. It was just a much, much easier cycle to how would I say this? To navigate. It was just a super easy cycle to navigate. Now that I'm looking back on it, this recent iteration was chaos, so much harder.
Yeah.
So with this, you know, we have one iteration from 2016 hitting the top of the golden pocket, next iteration of 2019 hitting the top of the golden pocket, and then here we are. Now, I'm a believer that it's clear that Bitcoin has diminishing returns, diminishing losses. So I don't think we're going to be getting above this 702 fib. It's less likely that Bitcoin starts getting over like 43,000, et cetera. We only have one point of reference, which would be this peak right here of 48,000. Like, I really don't think it could do that. There would have to be some serious money pouring into this market, and I just don't know where that would be coming from at this time. So I'm more open-minded to a 40K Bitcoin. It's a nice psychological level. It's right there above the 618, so it's in the golden pocket technically. And if Bitcoin wants to extend past these eclipses and it starts showing me technical signs that I could continue a little bit up, I'll be vocal about that with the community, and I'll let everyone know how I feel. You know, I'm not gambling all my fucking chips on this eclipse stuff. I'm open to it. I have the proof in the pudding from prior cycles, but again, I'm an analyst. I can't just only be using the esoteric stuff. I also have to combine it with my analytical skills.
Now,
So I'm open-minded to like an opportunity of us going higher. I just need to see it unfold in the charts. I need to be checking back in with RSI. I need to look at a lot of things. So I just want to let you know that I'm open to higher levels, but above 40K, I'm not sure.
now, I do want to cut you off right there and re-emphasize that point you just made. I feel like a lot of people, when they listen to you and when they listen to me and then other people, they take things out of context, because something that you just said is, I'm not betting the house on these eclipses alone, because once you get into the moment, that's when you have to perform and reassess based on what is going on. And I feel like a lot of people cling, and I think it comes from a place of laziness, but a lot of people cling to, you said this one time 2 months ago, and now we're here and it didn't happen. And look at you, you were wrong. And it's like, no, my friend. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Things happen. That was true and accurate based on the knowledge I had in the past. But the
Yeah.
most adaptable of the species survive, as Darwin says. And you have to be able to adapt to what is being given in real time, right? This isn't one of
100%.
those things where you can just make an analysis based on, the past, and then we're in the moment, and then now you have to base it on what you did a couple weeks ago. No, no, no. Now you have to change based on what's going on. And maybe your analysis from months ago was accurate and you don't have to change anything, but you have to be present in the moment and looking at things in real time to see what the hell is going on. Right. So
A million percent.
that's extremely important. And I'm really glad you touched on that.
Absolutely. And I think, like, this is a big reason why I go over the charts as well, because for the people who don't have the energy to listen to the decoding stuff, then you could check out my analysis. And I've had moments actually in the past where I decided to go against my decoding and only follow my analysis. And it actually was harmful for my portfolio. So again, I've been humbled by the code, bro. Like I've been humbled by it. Like
Uh,
seriously, I
yeah.
made a shitty call. I did make a really shitty call around this time frame leading into December of 2020. Yeah, right here. It was an eclipse. I disregarded the power of the lunar eclipse in a lunar phase, which started here. But because Bitcoin did this bull trap thing where it slightly made all-time highs, it just caught me off guard. But what I did do, the thing
Mm,
I actually did was I still sold anyways. So I was wrong about the idea of continuation, but I still took action regardless. So for the people that were like hung up on the, oh, it didn't go to 100K shit, it's like, well, I was still talking on YouTube videos about how I was selling at 53, selling at 55, selling at 56. I didn't give a shit about, what it could do. I needed to take profits. I have a family to feed. I have shit to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
mm,
this is the thing that you touched on that I'll reiterate is bosses, regardless of what the manager thinks or regardless of what the customer thinks, you have solutions to problems.
powerful.
That's it. Like a boss makes choices and decisions and has solutions when you have problems. So whatever I'm given in the present moment is how I respond. I'm not here to make predictions and be the crystal ball guy. If I could help you get better at seeing clearly through your crystal ball, then dope. But at the end of the day, like the thing that's allowed me to succeed is when I see opportunity, I take action. When I see a problem, I have a solution. And that's really what I hope my work can help people get more in tune with. So when you hear me say those things, like if my analysis starts to show me in the present moment that it's going against some of the decoding stuff, I will start to slow myself down. I'll become ultra analytical if needed, but then I'll tap into my intuition and I'll ask myself, like, what do I got to do right now? Like, what do I have to do right now? I'm not going to start fishing to watch other people's videos or to have my bias be confirmed by somebody. That's what most people do. And that's why you make bad decisions, family. You got
Yeah.
to follow your gut. Like you have to follow your intuition based off of what's going on in your life. And once you learn how to tap into that essence, then there are no mistakes.
Yes. Absolutely. Unbelievable. Now, there you go, the granddaddy, the big cook, right? The one we're all really here for, brother. We saw XRP go up all the way to 58 cents roughly, and you were very vocal and public about what you saw coming when it came to this specific coin. However,
Hmm.
you also, I believe in your most recent video, it could have been this one or the last one, you also said we have pretty much a straight shot to around the 91 cent range. We have this zero point 0.5 fib in the way though, but you see pretty much some clean air in there after this retracement. So I'm curious to know, is that still holding strong? Do you still think this is where we're going? And ultimately in this sell and may go away analysis is where do you think XRP could go within that time frame?
Yeah. So if I take a little zoom out and I see what's going on in this local trading range since we had this C19 event, we are working with this peak right here, which was the launch of the Flare airdrop stuff that I don't even know what's going on with. And then you had the SEC dump, and this bottom trend line is where I kind of started piquing my interest in the lows. We've
Mhm.
since been holding this trend line, and I exposed this pattern. I know you shared it over on your Twitter. And now that we've broken out of it, I've started to identify that this horizontal level of around 50 cents is really crucial, like 50, 52 cents. We're playing around with that level now. And to get into how I see this thing moving forward, if we can get above this 382 fib, which would be solidifying closures above 60 cents, I do see a straight line until about 82. And because of the nature of XRP, we can see wicks just break straight into this 618 in a single day. But we need to watch out for those wicks, man, because they peak and then they just fall. So
Mhm.
this is like a hot potato right now. And you see how violent these breakouts are with this
Of
project. It
course,
could
yeah.
just do 30% in a single day.
Right.
I'm actually happy that it's slowed down. I'm really happy because I want us to come back and hold 50 cents forever. I don't know if we will though. Like retail does not hold this bag. I know it seems like there's a strong community behind this thing, but when it comes to the actual active investors, they're pretty weak hands. So when I'm seeing this trading range building up at 50 and us stalling out, it's a good sign. But overall, we need to clear this crown top distribution. And this was a prior level that we were looking at as a support. And when we broke through it back in May of 2022, you see at that red line right there, we've come up and rejected off of it. And now we're still trading below it technically. We
Mhm.
have a lot of data building at 50 cents. I would like more data to build to fill out this area on this volume profile range. And what I mean by thin air is we just don't have a lot of trading range up until 82 cents. So if I had to make a call, I already called the 54 cent level. We accomplished that. My next call would be 82 cents to be conservative, and wicks up to 93 definitely in play. Can this baby make it to $1? I don't know. It's on Wix if it's gonna, and XRP loves to just do these wick final moments before rolling over. You could see it time and
Mhm.
time again. So it's really cautious time. We can see also, remember what I was showing you on the last Bitcoin chart? I was
Mhm.
showing you the prior cycle. So let's analyze the last cycle. I'm going to take off some of this noise for you guys just to make the chart clean. So I have right here a fib pull from that 330 all-time high. I don't know if anyone has taken profits there, but fuck, that must have been magical. So I
Mhm.
have the fib pulls from that level down to this swing low, and you can see the automatic rally on XRP was a rocket ship straight line, and then it just went into a downtrend. That's not good. That to me is a sign that it's probably going to be a very similar vibes. So here would be your connection to the 2019 automatic rally for Bitcoin, and it did not really go much higher. So it's hard for me right now because I think this shit is so suppressed that it needs to have some bull trap energy. The market makers, the powers that be, I think they have one more bull trap coming for this project. And for me, this time frame of April, May is panning out perfectly. I just wouldn't imagine this holding and going much higher than about $1. And if it's going to hit those levels, I see it rolling over.
Now, a lot of people have a lot of hope, you would say, and pride invested into the resolution of this case potentially coming. A decision in this case is definitely coming within probably within this month, right? Like a lot of people have stated March 31st was supposed to be the day. I would say right now that it seems like it should be very, very close because frankly, the judge is on standby. We'll get a decision at any given moment, regardless of whether it's good, bad, medium rare, anything in between. A lot of
Yeah.
people have a lot of emotions tied into it. What you're seeing in the charts, though, is not a new all-time high for XRP. It's not even retesting that $2 mark for XRP. What you're seeing right now within the next couple weeks potentially is maximum $1. More likely 80 to 90 cents. That's going to frustrate
Correct.
a lot of people.
I
And
know.
and ultimately, how what I'll say is I believe
That's
you.
what I'm known for, brother. I'm known for
I know,
frustrating
but
people.
it ultimately it's one of those things where I believe you very deeply, because why why would the elites make it so that XRP breaks out when this case happens? That's idiotic. Like, oh yeah, retail's ready for it. They've been waiting all this time. Yeah, let's give them what they want. Absolutely not. And that makes a lot of sense to me. But something I've been saying for a long time is this case and the resolution potentially coming, what it ultimately means is that it'll allow for XRP to be freed from the vice grip and the price suppression. Because
Mhm.
I think we can both agree that XRP is a better project than 99.9% of cryptos that
Correct.
exist, right? And
Correct. That's why it's
ultimately,
my third biggest holding.
there you go. And ultimately, the reason that we all believe it didn't reach new all-time highs is because of the suppression of this case. So once this is all resolved, the big point that I want to make is new all-time highs are more probable and more likely to come the next time around. And while that's something people may not want to hear, or people may want new all-time highs immediately, and while people really want to see more than just 80 to 90 cents, play with this market and see what happens. Play with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the market doesn't give a shit about your emotions or about what you believe in or how you feel. Like for me, I was really lucky when I got into XRP, and I think I said this in my last transmission with you. I got into XRP because of your videos.
unbelievable. Well,
You were like the most popular person I saw talking about it from that angle, So you were the guy that made me give this attention initially, but I was a technical analyst. So I had to, take a pause from a lot of stuff to learn these charts to really do my due diligence and investigate what's happening here. And because I did that, because I took that pause and I just got my head in the charts 10, 12, 13 hours a day, I was able to figure out this system and this code and how to finesse this project. And it was
and
beautiful. It was one of the most it made me successful without YouTube, just trading XRP. Like I'm being for real right now. So, I mean, really, I get why sometimes I frustrate people with these calls and with these ideas, but it's because if it frustrates and offends you, like you're breaking code number one of being an investor, like for real. Like really, you got to just put that stuff on the sidelines when you're playing with this game and give your emotions to your family, your friends, your business, like the real shit that's going on in your life. When you become a master of your emotions, you become a master of your path towards success.
well,
So I don't want to frustrate people. It's never my intent. I'm just aware that I do. I have been frustrating people since this last cycle. When I was talking about selling XRP at $1.40, 50, 60, 70, I was getting crucified day by day. And then when it rolled over and went up into the Shemitah, and then I started talking to Coach JV, telling him about the Shemitah. Shout out to Coach JV. I know you and him have connected before.
mhm.
I took profits there for the last time, and everyone silenced. I never got, for pretty much a year and a half, I didn't get any crap. And then recently I've started talking about this idea, maybe 80 cents, 90 cents, a dollar, and the energy, the nails in my hands are coming back again. And again, I'm just telling people, I'm like, I'm not here to destroy your belief system. I'm here to make you consider that your belief system is a limiting belief system. And it's built and predicated on the theory that it's going to go well for you because it's allegedly going to go well for XRP. But I think if you can just put that on the sidelines for a moment and accept the fact that XRP is not going anywhere, Ripple's not going anywhere. So just be better at being patient. And in the meantime, be better at analyzing how this is all designed to go for the grand scheme of things. Like you will be on the winning team. If you're invested in XRP, you chose the winning horse. Okay. So there's no need to be frustrated at waters above. Like
I
this is
think
that's overall gonna bode well. What people are mad about though is the fact that I'm not giving these extremely bullish, unrealistic price targets. And I believe that just by me saying $14 to $20 for the next cycle is also pretty damn bullish. I mean, the fact that I said that when it was trading at 30 cents, I mean, what more do people want, man? That right
589
there.
Waters, 589, 589. That's
So,
what.
so the last thing I'll say on that note is what I've learned about a lot of people who are focused solely on one project specifically is they are parasited by greed. They are infested by greed. And
Mm.
greed is another part of the emotional spectrum where if you have that attached to your investment thesis, you're not going to do too well in this market. So again, like let's just think about the market philosophy and the mindset and what separates winners from mediocrity. And this is really where you develop the tools of the trade. I was talking about stuff like this.
Now, something I want to add at the end of what you just said is, dude, I've been here specifically talking about this digital asset for the past, I think it's 4 years now, every single day, right?
Oh shit. Wow.
I, I think
Damn, bro.
it's 4 years every single day, but to that point, every single person, almost like 99.99% of people that have analyzed this XRP chart are absolute shit at it and have gotten it completely wrong, right? And the reason you're here is not because you're my favorite person I would like to hear speaking about this asset, because you're not, because you make me really sad. You make me really sad. I'm telling you, I'm one of those people. I want 589 and cum waters. I want it. But you're one of those people that you have made more money than individuals and more percentage than individuals trading this specific chart. So how can I not have you on here to humble people and be like, hey, listen, motherfuckers, I understand what you've seen and the documents and everything, but this analysis, everyone's getting wrong. Almost, I think there's maybe one more analyst, and that's Torre, who's actually grounded when it comes to this fucking chart and has gotten it relatively right. You know, so people, the reason I have you on is because you're over here making money from XRP, and whether it's myself, a content creator, other content creators, we're incentivized to make you want to stick around with this asset, right? So, and that's a bias, right? And that's very real. Now, I believe
what I do is not sexy, man.
it's not, but
it's not sexy.
And I believe in every single word that I say on my channel. I do. But the reality is things haven't happened. We're at 50 fucking cents.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You're like, okay, well, this dude over here that's talking about fucking blood moons and eclipses is over here getting a rate and making profits from XRP. Because, dude, I haven't sold any XRP ever. Right? I've just been accumulating.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, bro, I love this asset. Why would I sell on the community? I don't trade it. I love it. This is my bag.
Well, can I just stop you for one second? That goes back to what I said earlier about how retail just has weak, like if everyone put that energy in like you did. Like, by the way, I still have a bag of XRP. I was buying all down here and I was telling my community when I was buying it. So I have like I'm never without it, right? It's a part of my overall wealth plan and wealth thesis. But like if this project really did have that badass community behind it, it would not be at 50 cents right now. It just won't be. Like if everyone dollar cost averaged their next paycheck into this thing in the XRP community, this shit would probably be at $14 tomorrow.
Waters, I'll actually combat that and tell you, my friend, I strongly disagree, because there was actually a coalition of XRP Army members. We created a community of 250,000 people on Telegram, a buy and hold XRP community. Boom. On this day at this time, everyone's going to buy and hold XRP, and everyone bought leading up to it, and then boom, at the time, dude, it's something like something like that, right?
I remember that day. And I told everyone that's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
And that's the thing, right? It's like we tried it once.
Right, but trying and doing are different. So this shows how weak the hands really are, actually. This shows that, you're only here to make money. You're not here to actually be part of the community. See, the thing about this, brother, the thing about it is a real community of people are not only solely focused on the positives. They're focused on how to to maintain. They're focused
Oh,
on how to slowly grow.
but
But this
Waters,
event right here, this candle, it shows me something that it solidifies what I said even more. It's that you're only here to make the money, and then when
yes,
the sell wall comes in, you all leave.
yeah, absolutely.
Classic.
And
Classic.
but that's the reality, right? About crypto or any other type of investing. It's me
Yeah.
versus you versus everybody else, right? It's one on one versus it's a dog eat dog world, my friend. And that's something I even tell my people. I'm like, hey, it's me versus you, right? Like we're going up against each other, right? In this market, I have to sell on you, you have to sell on me in order to make money. And that's everyone else, to everyone else as well. We're all selling against each other. And ultimately, at the end of the day, in all these little crypto communities and all these discords and da 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 da, there are
Yeah.
people over here just in there just to see what the sentiment is, so they can make money off your emotional state. And
Yep.
that's true. I'm very aware of this, and I bring this up all the time, and it's frustrating to see because there's a massive community of people that genuinely believe in this asset, like myself. I genuinely believe this is the correct answer. I think this asset is the correct answer, but the reality has been it's been the worst answer, right? And to admit that is unbelievably frustrating.
Right. Yeah, like
But
it's kind of sad to watch what happened with Dogecoin whilst the
dude,
XRP narrative was being pushed. So like
dude,
I remember that time, like people talking about XRP the way that they were talking, but then on the other side of things, you have like Elon tweeting, and then this Dogecoin just keep going up and up and up forever. And
imagine.
yeah, I remember that. I remember it making all the XRP people look a certain way. And I get it, man. I totally get it. Like I get how disappointing this kind of stuff could be.
Yeah,
But that's markets. Like they don't care about your emotion. You can sit around and call Dogecoin a shit coin all day, right? Like you can do that all you want. But if it
yeah,
keeps going up and up and up and your asset just don't do nothing, then you're just speaking into the void. Like
yeah,
you're a guy with a straight jacket on in the mental institution screaming at the pillows.
yeah,
Like, so I'm not saying this to offend people. I'm just being real right now. It's like you have to look at opportunities. Just look at opportunities. Don't get so lost in like your beliefs. And beliefs are fine, they're necessary. They have merit. But if the beliefs start to consume you and your ability to see clearly and take, positive action for not only you, like we have a lot of people, bro. And I know this because I used to take client calls to help people with portfolio building, like to develop their portfolio. And it was a lot of people that were coming from specifically XRP, holders. Like they were holding 80% of their portfolio XRP, 95% of it XRP, right? So I've seen it. I've done probably 1,000 portfolio reviews. I've seen it all in every continent, like I get it. Like if anyone gets it, I get it. And that's what's helped me see clearer on this whole market about how it actually works.
mm,
Like there's something going on here that's bigger than your belief. And once you get uncuffed from that, you change, your behavior changes, and you start to walk your path. Communities are great, but if they're ran by a central thought, then that's called a cult.
mm, powerful.
Now, whenever we realize that is embedding itself into our consciousness, well, there's only one thing you could do, Neo. It's take the red pill.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I do have a question, because something I do is I make room for any and all things, right? Um, I'm curious to know, do you make room for this any of the narratives surrounding XRP, like potentially flip of a switch, some whatever the hell theory, some clarity that randomly shoots it up to some other
Mhm.
level? Maybe it gets a special designation to where they do have to use it for some special thing, and that transcends TA. Do you make room in your mind for that?
Yes, I think that there is a couple of things to consider here with XRP, but it's nothing new for you guys. It's the
Yeah, yeah.
SEC case. It's the full scale implementation of ISO 222. It's what will happen with the Federal Reserve and the central banks of Europe, specifically with CBDCs. I mean, I think all of that's going to play a role into what could unfold for XRP. Oh, another thing that I think is the relisting of XRP on some other exchanges. That's another variable, if you will. But now with the biggest content creators in the crypto sphere going to like BitBoy, blockchain backer, and it is what it is, right? All of the biggest content creators now are on Team XRP, like for the most part. With all of this attention at the biggest like amount of attention that these social channels get, such as BitBoy, Blockchain Backer, you, and there's a huge list of others, way larger than my community. If all of these people can be pro XRP and talk about it on their channels and it's still keeping this coin where it is, then I just don't know what to tell people. Like there's something going on behind the scenes that is absolutely suppressing this thing. And then there's also some, sorry?
I believe so too. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's making me curious now, because even though I said what I said before about how like if everyone bought a little bit of it and they held that conviction and like it was a real community of holders, not just a community of posters, then we would start to see the change. But like again, like when I'm seeing all these big channels talk about it, it's showing me that this is a very isolated conversation to have. XRP is a very mysterious fucking project. And with that being said, until the mystery of it clears up, I'm going to keep buying and selling it every time I see the opportunity to. But as for how I feel about these big narratives that push a lot of the community driven XRP stuff, like the flip of the switch and all that, I really don't even know where to begin, because I've muted out that energy for like the past 2.5 years. I've really done my best to just not get involved in that, because I don't feel that it helps me. And that was a smart decision, clearly. But maybe there's some other things that are a little bit more sophisticated that I'm just not aware of, that you are aware of, and that you could share with me. And if it's specific, I can answer to it. But outside of that, I'm kind of in the dark, because I just stick to my charts, I stick to my decoding, and I make my moves based off of that.
Sure. I mean, ultimately, and this is something that I teach my clients as well. It's, you have to choose the type of investor that you want to be, right? And specifically, I like choosing the type of investor I want to be with different digital assets, right? I'm in a committed marriage with XRP. I've taken the Warren Buffett approach, where it's ownership, boom, I have it. I'm not going to day trade it. I'm not going to swing trade it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have it. And nobody could take this off me, because I understand from a few mentors that I've had in my day, the more moves you make, the more prone you are to mistakes, right?
Correct.
And I've seen that plenty of times just within my own life and my own mistakes that I've made, specifically with investing or trading here and there. So that's the take I've made with XRP. But other assets, hey, one night stands, I'll swing trade you until the moon and beyond, oblivion.
Sure.
Like Cardano is one of those projects that Cardano is actually the project that changed my life, right? It really did. I really DCA'd heavy in 2020 at 3 cents, and boom.
Yeah, bro.
Rode that baby up to $3. I took some profits along the way. Didn't sell at the exact top, because that's impossible, right? But that made life-changing gains from that project alone. Theta as well, right? Theta was a project, got in at 7 cents. That baby went to 16. It didn't sell at the exact top, but I made a nice little 30x on it, right? So it's you have to be able to have different, have a long-term wealth strategy, but also be able to make moves in the immediate future or in the immediate present, because that's how you can free yourself, quite frankly. But with XRP,
1,000,000%.
With XRP, dude, I think I'm a big believer that if people want to make money trading it, that's up to them. And there's definitely opportunities, especially with the swings that it has. I mean, we just saw it go from, what was it, like around 40 cents to, I think the 58 cent, more like 30% in like a week, maybe a little less than that. That's unbelievable. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for what I think could be a different designation for it. There's been a lot of documents that have talked about XRP potentially being labeled as a stable coin. And there are a lot of members of the XRP community, when you say XRP can be a stable coin, that are absolutely livid and call it some hypey horseshit. But I've seen
Yeah.
G30 documents, right? I've seen G20 documents. I've seen IMF documents and Chinese backed projects, or excuse me, Chinese backed trials, or whatever the hell documents,
Yeah.
stating and
I've
calling
said that a couple times,
XRP.
man, and that got me so much shit.
And it's like, I've seen the paperwork is right here, right?
Yeah.
And I put it on the screen. Hype bullshit. This is what it says. Fuck you. I can read at an above second grade reading level, right? I definitely can. And it says, similar to XRP's technology, stablecoin, blah, 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 something like that. XRP, stablecoin. So it's
That's
like,
what I said about the next cycle. I said, like, if it goes up to like $14, like, I do still see it coming down to potentially $1 again.
but this is the thing, right? I do believe in a world where, and ultimately this is something that has never made sense to me. How could they have the rails of the next generation financial system being run on a hyper volatile XRP doing parabolic moonshots? Like, you can't do that, right?
Correct.
So that's why I'm a believer.
But then, so
in
you
a flip of the
clear
switch
something
type
up for me though?
moment. Oh, one more time.
Can you just clear something up for me though? What's going on with these people that are in like very popular people that talk about like $1,000 XRP, and they bring it up kind of in contrast to what you just said, like that it was designed allegedly to be like $1,000, etc. What do you say to that stuff?
So specifically, what is said is that it was designed to be $10,000, right? That's actually what it is. And
okay, sorry, yeah, I'm in completely unopened.
No, but the reason that narrative exists is because when you look at the drops that XRP can contain, right? It's XRP. Each XRP has 1 million drops, right? And that's 7 digits. What the reason that 5-figure XRP valuation exists is because if XRP were at $10,000, that would make each drop worth a penny, right? That's what people have come up with. Now, is there a way that I see XRP could one day in the future, past 2030, maybe reach 5 figures? I do. Yeah, if we tap into the derivatives market and the entire system has to get revolutionized, absolutely. But that's with a lot of government intervention that needs to take place. That's with it being given its own special designation, right? And that's with potential SDR, ESDR status coming. That's a lot of things that need to go into play, right? And that's just so volatile and unprojectable to the regular human being. But if there's something that I can tell you, my friend, is that I have a more political background. That's what I studied at university. It's like politics and economics. But what I can say is that the biggest factor that, and the only really critique I have to chart analysts when it comes to XRP, is that people really underestimate government intervention and the role different spontaneous regulations can play on markets. Like, for example, when they confiscated gold and then sent the price up back in 1933 by 75%, boom, that's artificial. Like, you can see that on a chart, right? So that's and I'm not saying that they're going to do that absolutely, but what I am saying is that there's a massive confluence of events happening right now when it comes to the world and the financial system, and them trying to globalize the planet and bring us into a little digital AI control grid with social credit scores and CBDCs. And I believe XRP will be the infrastructure for it's like, dude, there's a little perfect storm that could make it that this is the asset that transcends all reality and TA at some point. Not right now, but at some point.
So am I saying $10,000? No, but I am saying that it could be that they gradually make it stable at whatever prices they need it to be, and gradually make their value rise based on whatever utility they need it for, you know, because that's something that needs to be considered.
Yeah, no, you make a lot of great points. And I actually believe I made a video a while ago talking about that gold confiscate, like basically the gold confiscation, right? With Theodore, with Roosevelt. And there was a kind of this theory that I had where XRP is a part of this concept, but just how it will play itself out in the future. So I need to go revisit that, the dates and all the information that I shared with that, because it might brew up another decode for me, and I believe it's a possibility. One of the things that I'm sharing right here on the chart is to just show people how in the last cycle, when XRP went from $3 all the way down to 10 cents, it lost 97% of its value. And if it was to pump up to $15 and go back to $1 flat, that would only be 92% of its value. And we saw with an even suppressed XRP that never went into price discovery, recently, we watched it from April 2021 down to June 2022, it lost 85% of its value, even with it being suppressed, right? So what makes sense about it losing 97% of its value after this cycle is because it was trading at fractions of a penny before it did this. It went up 70,000%. That's quite normal. If you study any altcoin that's gone up 50,000, 60, 70,000%, they all lose like 90 something percent of their value. You know, it happened with Dogecoin, happened with Digibyte, etc. But I'm just showing people like losing 93% is not something weird. I mean, I could show you probably every chart under the sun from the last cycle of a project that went into price discovery, and you will see we have VeChain, 95%. You have Cardano, we have a loss of 93%. You have Zilliqa, you have a loss of 94%. You have Chainlink, you have a loss of 90%. Good job, Chainlink. You still lost 90%. I mean, you see, like, if you think that it's impossible for this thing to have a massive blow off top, and I'm talking about XRP now, if people think it's impossible for it to do that and then come right back down to $1, then wake up. It's just what all coins do. Now, I believe that what you brought up, though, like it adds so many extra layers, and it opens up my mind deeper to the future of XRP. And this is a big reason why I hold this project, because I'm ready for some weird shit to happen in the world at any moment. Like, we have an environment now where we know the whole world can get shut down in a week due to a virus. Like, we like are in Twilight Zone, bro.
Dude, it's
Like,
crazy time.
and it's possible. It's totally possible. So people should open up their minds to it. And I think, you know, that's not necessarily my way of saying that all of this weird kind of theoretical stuff is the way to go. I would just put it at like the tertiary placement of the bigger, more important things, which is what's going on with you, your family, your wealth plan, your cash flow, etc., and create a strategy, an exit strategy or a wealth plan based off of that first and foremost. Then the second thing would be like, you don't just want to have a life where you're waiting around for a fucking fairy dust token to go to some arbitrary price. Like, live your life. You can create a business, like, I'm just being super straight up with people right now. Cause really, like, you can't just wait bull run after bull run after bull run for something to happen with a chart. You have to create, you have to go out and make things. You have to go organize with people. You need to get a mentor if you aren't able to tap into that. Like, you just got to do something in the meantime. Then the tertiary could be all of the end of the world apocalypse. Fucking, you know, what happens if there's a food shortage or if there's a power outage, and you know, you save that stuff for like that. But people have their priorities disorganized. A lot of the people, they think like that there's doomsday number one, then the second thing is the waiting game, and then the third thing is taking action. I'm telling you to flip that on its head. Like, start making first, start taking action with your time in the present moment, start creating now, and then save your energy for all the other stuff. But you know, like when Andrew Tate gets out of jail, now everyone starts losing their fucking prana to talk about Andrew Tate, and it's another distraction.
Oh, dude,
Stop staying distracted.
The same day that the Matrix movie came out, that was pretty interesting.
It's just how the
Just how the world works,
flexes
right?
on you guys. Yep. The New World Order
Yeah.
is just flexing on you. Speaking of Dogecoin, it's up 15% today. Why? You know, like this is insane market. We're really approaching you know, to bring this on back to reality. We're really approaching that kind of like final moment energy of you're just gonna see alts just waking up out of nowhere. For whatever reason they give, there's going to be an exoteric reason, but all of that's nonsense. This is really a time to, you know, get focused on what you're going to all do next, because I don't think this is going to be the most fun time for, let's just say, the world. You know, like I don't when I say the world, I'm not talking about your world. Like you can decide to, you know, make based in your safety and staying conservative and not being a gambler and just you know, hold your position. But we are going to see some change, and I'm really excited to come out with that decode for October. I think we could be watching some crazy shit go down in finances, and I wouldn't be surprised if what we last talked about in our first interview about an event to come specifically in crypto and finances and it happening in this year of 2023. I would not be surprised if that actually comes to fruition, and XRP bodes well from it. So I'm super open-minded to that. And that's not me pushing, you know, like Waters wouldn't say that unless I really believe that. I wouldn't just waste my words.
And that's the only thing, right? That's why I have the XRP strategy I do. I hold it. I don't trade it because I know if hypothetically I were to tell people, hey guys, I'm gonna start trading this thing and I'll take profits at $1, and boom, they decide to do some Illuminati flip the switch nonsense. Oh, then I'm over here. I was talking about it for 4 years just for what, some profit. Then I'll be mad. So that's why I just hold it. That's my long-term wealth strategy. Whatever happens with it happens. I'll take profits along the way up and always have a long-term bag. And that's how I've decided to play that token. Every other token I'm more willing to sell, but that one, that's the one I've chosen. So
yeah. So have you heard of the Great American Eclipse? It's called the Great American Eclipse. It's going to be happening between October and April of 2024. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so like there's the eclipse in October of this year that I keep talking about. October, that's one of the big reasons why. And it will form an X with the next eclipse that happens on April 8th of 2024. Now, you know, the logo of XRP is the X, and anyone who watches my videos, you know, I keep talking about the significance of the X and the number 24 because X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. Elon Musk is a really key player in this whole decode because he uses the X for everything. He even named his last child X. He has SpaceX. His first company, the first breakthrough company he had was X.com, which became PayPal. This guy is like the leader of the technocratic revolution, right? So with that being said, I'm super interested to see how the information that I could come up with regarding this Great American Eclipse, the one from October to April, it could be sort of the precursor for some shit to go down specifically with XRP. I'm not trying to like sauce anyone up right now, but it's making me think a lot about how astrology and these more esoteric things are very, very important. And just the fact that we're getting this type of eclipse specifically for America, we know XRP is based out of America initially. I could keep going, but I'm super open-minded to April of 2024 for so many reasons. I can't really get too deep into it now, but remember we were talking about the Titanic, and the sinking of the Titanic happened on April 15th of 1912. If you take that specific date, you'll see how many events, big world events, have happened on April 15th. It's insane. Okay.
It's also
like, so
funny how that's our tax day as well here in the States.
I wonder why. So yeah, if you look at that date, you could see the Boston bombing, you could see Notre Dame fire. It was the day during the C-19 event where we had the most cases in a single day. I mean, you could just keep going back into history and you could see how important April 15th was. And the pattern that I discovered is that if it lands on a Monday, we're probably going to have a ritual happen on that date. And the next time April 15th lands on a Monday is in 2024, just a week after that Great American Eclipse on April 8th. I think there's going to be some shit that happens in April of 2024 that's going to be heard by everyone. You know, it's going to be everyone in the world will know about it.
Stop doing this to me, please.
Well, I'm
Jesus.
just trying to find the patterns. You know, I'm trying to find the patterns and I'm trying to
No,
apply them. And
no,
it's uncanny. You know, it's really sorcery level shit. Sometimes it blows
no,
me away. Even if I do
Waters.
it, it still blows me away.
No, Waters. Now, I do know that today, or excuse me, that this year is the end of the Shemitah and it's a 50-year cycle. For those of us that,
No, it's so the
you
Shemitah
know,
ended last year,
yes, correct,
and if
but
we this
because
is
of
the
the seven
Jubilee.
of seven, right?
Yeah.
Whatever effect we're supposed to see is supposed to come this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we already had the Shemitah energy starting in 2021, which led to the massive bull run we had, and then through 2022, which led through the entire collapse we watched, with most of these coins losing 90% of their value. And
Okay.
now we're in the Jubilee year. And in the
Okay.
Jubilee year, we tend to have restructure. And if we go back to the 1973 timeframe, or let's just go back to the 70s, we had 1971 was the Nixon shock. And then 73 and 75, we had what was called the 1973-1975 recession. So I think that this is just a repeat of that cycle. And anywho, that's the theory behind the Jubilee. It's perfectly in alignment with that time frame back then. And by the way, dude, if you study that economy back then, we had hyperinflation.
Yeah.
It's like our world runs on these cycles, and I don't know how sometimes they're able to set it up so perfectly, but it could just be because they're running it off of this biblical Shemitah and Jubilee cycle.
It's unbelievable, bro. I'm one of those people that back this journey for me started back in 2016, where I began really deep diving into like the central banking system. Dude, all it was, like, I was just over here trying to like figure out what was going on in Antarctica. Like, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
And then like some random video came up of Antarctica, government peace treaty, okay, central banks. Then I click on the banks and I'm like, oh, what's this? Oh, these families. Oh, this sounds like bullshit. And then I stumbled upon some more channels and it went even deeper and I learned money is fake. I'm like, what do you mean all these cycles? All these cycles sound like absolute bullshit. What do you mean the world is run on this Jewish calendar? This is nonsense.
Yeah.
And oh, wait, here I am all these years later, and now it's confirming everything that I originally was researching years ago, but now I'm just taking it seriously. Okay, that's a little humble pill that I have to swallow. Jesus, dude,
Well, it's great that you're open-minded to it. You know, like a lot of people, they just disregard it instantaneously because they want to think that they have full control over this. And I don't believe either party has full control. I don't believe it's that the elites have full control or it's the people that have control. It's just there's something bigger than all of that. And this energy overall, it integrates and it reacts to itself like a give and take, kind of like energy has to go somewhere. It can't be created nor destroyed. So it's pent up and then it releases. It has to go somewhere. It flows from one vessel to the next vessel. And if you just think of the concept of a wealth transfer, that's all it is. Like, and the patient people and the open-minded people and the ones that are more conscious and more disciplined in how they invest their attention versus spending their attention or paying attention, as we call it. Like, it makes a lot of sense now why there's success and billionaires out there that are living the life they have. And you see the normal person and the way that they react to stimuli. And now that makes sense. Like, they rather just watch TikTok, woman's ass is shaking for 12 hours straight without putting in any effort. So if people don't want to be open-minded, like, that's the first part. And then the second thing would be like, not only the open-mindedness, it's to try to like develop a skill with this new knowledge that you have. But anyways, I think it's really funny how you said that in 2016, because that's the year of the monkey in Chinese zodiac, and mon is moon, like money. So you started to learn about finances in that specific year. I think that's perfect. You know, it makes so much sense to me how you were coded to that. It's like I tell people this all the time. If you see somebody become viral in a certain year, just look to their birthday year in Chinese zodiac and then compare it to the year they went viral. And I guarantee you it will be the same thing. And that's exactly why Andrew Tate was the most popular person in the world last year, because last year was the year of the tiger. And right when we got to the end of the year, he gets arrested and now no one cares. You know, so it's like this is how the world operates. There's this deep encoded esoteric system, and it just requires you with eyes to see. Once you can start putting it all together, it makes a lot more sense. And all the elite do, it's not that they have power, it's just they're very sophisticated in coming up with ways to distract the fuck out of you. That's all they do. They just know how to throw some bread and give you some circus. And if you can stay there in the playpen like a baby, just drooling on yourself, playing with the toys that mama gives you, then they could control the whole world.
That's I really love using the word unplug yourself from the stimuli, because once you take a moment and become self-aware and know that everything being thrown at us is meant to distract us to a certain degree, it's unreal. And I'll just give you another example. The Trump indictment. Who the fuck cares? Why does anyone care at all? Who cares? Like, what is that gonna, he's not going to jail. And even if he does, who cares? I don't care. Like, why does that matter? What are they doing that they need me to react to this? What are they doing? What are they doing? That's what my mind goes to now. And if you could reach that,
it's just a energy harvesting experiment. That's all it is.
Dude,
it's an energy harvesting experiment. And if you learn how to stop giving away your prana to this stuff, you will start to have prana that's easily accessible by you. You will make so many realizations once you learn the discipline of keeping your prana. But most human beings are just in an infinite leakage of their life force energy, giving it away to nonsense that has nothing to do with their reality. And what's funny is if somebody who's confident in their words like you are were to share with somebody else what you just said in the collective, they would take offense to it because they believe politics is real. And I believe politics is like the World Wrestling Federation. It's like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, and you're just watching two wrestlers. It's all scripted nonsense. There is no election. It is a selection. When you wake up to the fact that this is all bro, last thing I'll just say this. Government comes from governare mente or mentis. Governare means control. Mente means mind control. It's in the fucking word. Where they print the money is called the mint. It's the mente. It's the mind. They're printing the currency to control everything. Because if they control your mind, they control you.
Powerful. Waters, I have a question for you from the audience. And this is something that I do want to touch on as well. You're saying that the big hypothesis that you have is selling may go away. And that's something that I'm going to show quite a bit of respect for, even when it comes to my portfolio and some of the coins that I own. However, what I'll add is people are asking about specifically how far this pullback will be with coins like Bitcoin and XRP, right? Because if Bitcoin leads the market, and then XRP is the token we're almost most tied to. A lot of us own it completely. So I'm curious to know what you think this retracement specifically between May and October into whatever could entail for us.
Yeah, totally. So, well, first thing I need to answer with is it depends on how high they go now. The more extended they are to the upside, the more dramatic the sell-offs can be, and the more stable they are, the less they actually gain will be the less they sell off. So keep that in mind. Like the more volatile it is, the more volatile it is in the other direction. So if we get up to like 50,000, then this shit could really come down hard. But if we only go up to like 37 or 39 or 40K, then we might hold structure and it could be a very pleasant pullback for Bitcoin. But we need to remember that Bitcoin steals the energy of the show from solar eclipse until the next Bitcoin halving. This is another important thing that I didn't mention earlier, just because it puts us just far out into the future. But if I was to answer how this can go, depending on the information I just laid out, if Bitcoin goes to about 40K, I could see it coming down to about 20. If it starts to go higher, then I could see deeper pullbacks. I don't think that Bitcoin pulling back to this level right here will be problematic at all, except for if you're holding super, super speculative altcoins. So I think XRP would bode well on a 20K pullback for Bitcoin. It could probably hold structure. And what that means for XRP is like maybe coming down to like 37 or 40 cents. Now, if Bitcoin starts to break structure and goes below 20K and starts getting into like the 16, 15, and maybe even lower, then you could say lights out for a lot of things at that point. So I am giving the analysis in a very open-minded perspective. Like, what do I think personally? I think Bitcoin's going to hold structure, and I think that altcoins in general have a lot of gains to give up. And if we see any issues with stable coins, that adds another variable to the mix. But to keep it to Bitcoin and XRP, I think the pullback would be around this 236 fib. If you pull it on either chart, that puts us into, let me show you with XRP. It puts us about 45 cents on the pullback, like structurally, technically. I think a 40-cent XRP on the return is likely. If XRP can make it up to $1, I still think it's going to hold structure. I don't think we're ever going to see XRP dip much deeper than this SEC sell-off that we got back in December 2020. So the recent lows that we've gotten in the charts in 2022 are sensible, and I think we're going to hold structure. Now, if I start talking about other projects, oh man, anyone who watches my Red Pill podcast that I do on Patreon, you hear me talk about things going to zero all the time. There's so much stuff that I think has to go away. 95% of the charts that I look at, I think are going to go deeper than they did in July, moving into moving into September, October of this year. I could give an example really quickly of like how I'm seeing this go for a lot of altcoins. Let me pull up something. Oh, this is a good one. Jasmy. So you see that it hit lows in December near the end of the year. Most projects did. This is one of those projects that I think will have a dead cat bounce scenario and go to fractions of a penny lower than where it's at now. Probably a sell-off as deep as 0.0008. Like we're going to chop off probably an extra 2 zeros potentially. That is all very likely for these sorts of projects, these very speculative coins. Bitcoin, I believe it will hold structure. XRP, Ethereum, I believe it will hold structure, but I still think that this shitcoin market needs to get washed out. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go away. So lower lows are impeding for the October timeframe.
I like the way that you put that together because most of these cryptos are useless, and I think a washing out needs to take place. We're beginning to see the Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler campaign unfold, and regulations and lawsuits. Even the CFTC is getting involved. So I could definitely see a reality where most cryptos die completely. And I think it needs to happen. I've been calling for a moment like that to happen as well. My only question to you is, what cryptos do you think really have a nice little future? Would you say even like fundamentally sound cryptos that have like strong partnerships will survive, or are you even cautious on those as well?
I would go ahead and say that I think it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the known top ISO compliant tokens already. And then I would throw Chainlink into the mix. I would throw VeChain into the mix for sure. And that's about probably where I would end that list. Sorry. Litecoin, Dogecoin, and potentially Binance token. But the reason I feel this way is because of a much deeper discussion I'd have to get into that would require too much time. And I know that I don't even hold Dogecoin, by the way, or Binance token or Litecoin. But to answer your question on this and to just be super thorough, I've been decoding these projects and I don't think they're going anywhere. Even with some memery involved, I don't think they're going anywhere. Now,
Yeah.
everything else, I think has a very high likelihood of having a Terra Luna event.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked. I'd honestly be fine seeing it, dude. Like I thrive in chaos and I like seeing debauchery. I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean, for me, that's what my personal plan is to de-risk out of all of this stuff. I will hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP forever, in large amounts. And when it comes to October, November, whenever that time comes, I'll reassess and I'll determine like where I want to go. But when it comes to the speculative altcoin game, like the venture capital bag, again, not giving financial advice, but I do want to caution people that until we get through the Bitcoin halving and Bitcoin enters price discovery, you're just like really gambling in the short term right now, because
Mhm.
we can have this washout event happen between now and then. Now, if we make it through the Bitcoin halving and we start approaching like Q4 of 2024, it's monkeys playing darts, just like it was back in 2020. You could put your money down on pretty much anything and probably do pretty well,
Mm. Yeah.
especially if Bitcoin breaks into new all-time highs. So I am going to consider to push up XRP to my 2 position above Bitcoin, solely because it was suppressed in the last cycle, and I think it will shoot up like a rocket into my $14 to $20 target. And
Mm.
that's just me being speculative. What I'm saying right now is a speculative opinion and theory of why I would make that switch. But I'm so fucking happy that in the last cycle, I decided to keep my ratios the way I did and de-risk XRP when I did. Having it in my 3rd position right now, still feeling really good about that. And I also plan to de-risk a lot of that as well. So I'm not picking any sides in this race. I'm just holding myself back from being exuberant in adding and diversifying my portfolio more than it already is because of that concept of a washout.
Powerful. Powerful, brother. Love it. Um, is there anything else in particular you feel like should be discussed or that you want to bring up?
No, I think I covered most of everything that everyone I've covered most of the big topics, but if there's anyone in your audience that had questions, I could stick around for
Mhm.
maybe another 15 minutes or so. If there's any things that you think could be interesting for me to answer, feel free.
Sure. So someone asked, how do you see XRP suppression in chart analysis?
How do I see it?
Like, because we know that the SEC case is an event that we believe is suppressing the price of XRP amongst other potential players or powers that be, right? How can you objectively see that it's being suppressed as a digital asset? Like, how can you rationalize that with no narratives, no news, just based on the charts?
Well, it was just this top back here when it hit $1.96 and then it came down at this moment right there and broke support at 56. It just confirmed that this is being suppressed. You know, like if Bitcoin entered price discovery at this time, actually, Bitcoin went into price discovery here, technically, in November is when it broke 20,000. It broke the 2018 peak, late 2017 peak, and XRP was only sitting at $6 or 60 cents, excuse me. And then we had that SEC case come in almost immediately after that. But now we have to look at this moment. How is it that closer to the SEC case and lawsuit going down, did we watch XRP go from 17 cents all the way to $1.90? Like
Mm.
even with all of that being a negative influence allegedly on the market. So I don't think it's solely just the SEC part of it. I think there's a lot to do with mythology and a lot to do with the energy of the year and the Shemitah and all of that. Like I know that this might be hard for people to take in, but to delete all narratives and just go off of my methodology, I know that XRP is tied to Jupiter or Zeus through the mythology, and Zeus eventually defeats his father Saturn, but the Shemitah year is a Saturn year, not a Jupiter year. And this also, all this price action, it confirms something that was once woo-woo and now again proven. But this here, this move up to only $1.90 and rejection immediately after the SEC lawsuit kicked in is proof that it's not just the SEC. Because how the fuck was it able to go into a 1,000% gains closer to the fucking, So people can be super open-minded to the idea that SEC is not everything. And we know it's only an American institution. So why did that even affect XRP at all? It's a global project. It's a global company. It's being used in global financial infrastructure. So why would the SEC case bring so much doom and gloom? Of course, there's one other thing I need to mention is there was delistings, but again, it was mostly delisting on American exchanges. So it's not impossible to get this project. Like there's many on and off ramps for XRP globally. I don't know. Like I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that that's the only thing. And that's another reason why I don't think the SEC case clearing is going to lead to some insane price rally.
Yeah.
I hope I answered that because
you
I tried to
did.
give as
You
much
did.
value in the response.
And you did in the dude, only you. I can only speak with you, and you'll somehow tie XRP in with Zeus and how Zeus defeats the sad. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, but I love it. I feel like I'm learning fucking lessons and stories.
Yeah. So
I'm
to
use
give a
this
positive
with
note
my
on this,
friends.
to give a positive note on this, XRP tied to the X symbolism, and that X symbolism again tied to oh man, people just got to watch my videos if they're yeah, exactly. It's tied to the 24
like
and
24. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And we're moving into the Hebrew year of 5784, and 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 4 equals 24. So this great American eclipse that's happening in April of 2024, creating the X across the sky. And then the next month we have the fucking Bitcoin halving. Like, dude, this is prime for me to say that if I could time out when XRP is going to explode, it's going to be because of all of these connections to the more esoteric decoding. And if it does do that, then that lays it all to rest. Like I don't want to hear anyone else ever again talk about how this gematria numerology shit doesn't work, because thus far it's been beautiful. It's been working out nicely, and it excites me about the 2024 year because stellar lumens is just piggybacking off of whatever XRP does.
That's true. That's true.
It's in the name too. Stellar lumens, your luminaries, your stars. This is astrology, brother. It's called DAG constellation. You look at the H bar logo. The H bar logo is the Gemini logo sideways. You look at the stellar lumens XLM logo. It's Saturn. It's a planet with the rings.
That's correct. Yeah.
They're not hiding anything from any of you. It is all astrology. You look at VThor token, it's a lightning bolt. That's a symbol of Jupiter. You look at Litecoin's logo, that's the lightning bolt. That's a symbol of Jupiter. You look at Litecoin's colors, it's white and blue. That's the color of most financial institutions. I mean, you look at JP Morgan Chase, they use white and blue. You look at Charles Schwab, they use white and blue. You look at PayPal, they use white and blue. You look at American Express, they use white and blue. Am I blowing your mind yet? This is all colors, symbolism. That's what runs this market, truthfully.
How about Algo and IOTA?
Let me quickly look at IOTA.
IOTA,
I would have to do some counting because I'm seeing multiple dots, but that spiral that we're getting with it, that white and black color as well.
That I see. Could you say
yeah,
that?
I mean, I would consider it to be a trinity. Like it's the three-pointed, but it has some motion to it. I mean, I could decode that a little bit more, but EO, when you decode EO, that is a combination of sun and moon.
Interesting.
EO. E or I is Isis, and that comes back. Okay, I can't go too deep into this. It's going to be too much. You said Algorand? Sorry.
Dude, no, it's okay. This is what I'm here for.
So
Algo.
Algorand, yeah, algorithm. This is coming back to Atom. The Yeah, but the white and black symbolism is all Saturnian. So H bar has white and black, XRP has white and black, IOTA has white and black, Algorand has white and black, Stellar Lumens has white and black, Cosmos Atom has white and black. Again, it's called Cosmos, cosmology, stars. This white and black symbolism is Saturnian. So what that means is it's subconscious and conscious mind. Like if you look at the Masonic checkerboard, it's white and black, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys, humans, are pieces on the checkerboard. You're pawns that they move around. That's what a people pawn. Anyways, yeah, when I see this white and black symbolism, that's definitely tied to Saturn. But to go deeper into the decode, this Algorand logo, it kind of looks like an alchemical symbol as well. So if you get into symbols and alchemology, you could start to break this down. But that technical symbol is for fire.
Interesting.
So yeah, anyone who wants to get into decoding more, when you study alchemy symbols, you'll see a lot of the alchemy symbols in banking logos for sure.
Oh,
But
God.
XDC is pretty interesting. Zenfin with that white and blue, and it also has the X. So that to
Yeah.
me is very Jupiterian vibes as well.
Hmm.
Let me see on IOTA, last thing though, because I'm seeing so many of these dots. And if I was to like count the dots, I might be able to tell.
Oh, dude, just send me a message. Let me know what you find.
Yeah,
I actually
I
have a
got you.
little story to share with you about IOTA.
Yeah.
Some deep dive woo shit on this crypto, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Well, this project didn't do so well. Like, I mean, the chart is
No, I know
pretty.
it didn't. So, ironically enough, all the projects that like I deeply believed had quite a bit of utility and I held pretty strongly this last run didn't do very well relative to others. So, like IOTA, for example, Algo was another one that didn't do as well as I thought. Stellar didn't reach a new all-time high because we know it's pegged to essentially XRP's movements and stuff. So, it's interesting how that worked, though. It is interesting how that works.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of these symbols start to tell me a story. And if anyone was a Patreon supporter of mine, you'll know that you had access to a Gematria masterclass. And in that Gematria masterclass, I broke down H-bar, the symbolism. I broke down Zinfin Network, VeChain. I did deep dive decodes, full decodes on a bunch of projects. And I showed people that like you can make a lot of determinations on your investment thesis based on this stuff. So yeah, ISO 222 compliant coins, which I assume there's more than just the popular 6. What do you know? What do you know about ISO? Because I know you do
as
this for a
far
living. You pretty much talk about it.
yeah, so something I'll say right now is that you're gonna trigger a lot of people because technically speaking, there are no ISO compliant coins per se,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah,
just a
right. It's just
messaging
the
system.
ticker. Yeah.
But when he says ISO coins, I think at this point, for simplicity's sake, people know what we mean. Okay.
I'm assuming people know what I'm talking about. Correct.
Yes. So, what do you mean? What do I know about them? Like, how many are there? Apparently, there's Algo,
Well,
IOTA, XRP, Stellar, XDC, and a couple more have been thrown in there. I don't actually know if they are,
yeah.
but like H bar and Quant and I think ADA have been thrown in there, but I don't know if they
Yeah.
actually are.
Well, I was just wondering because I was assuming if you gave a lot of your energy and attention to all of those projects, and you said they didn't do so well, so I was assuming it was because of that ISO part of the theme.
I assume that it's because they're going to play a much bigger role when the next go around comes, right? It's interesting to me that the cryptos that I've subjectively deemed are well researched and fundamentally sound had probably the worst performance this cycle, and it's almost as if they're dissuading us from holding and investing in it by punishing us and not giving us the gains that I personally think we deserve by doing that.
Yeah.
So it's I just always found that was interesting to see, right? Because XRP didn't, Stellar didn't. I feel like we'd all agree they're pretty solid projects overall, but yeah, needless to say, there are a couple coins, IOTA's included in there, that underperformed and didn't reach new all-time highs that I think will overperform the next go around. So,
Yep.
but no, man, I think we had a nice little 2-hour session yet again. Why the hell not? Brother, I always love speaking with you. If you have nothing else that you like to say, it's always been a pleasure. I love everyone that's here right now, just watching this live, and for everyone that watches the replay, whether on YouTube or at home, know that I appreciate all of you. I'm always learning. I'm doing my best to keep up with what Waters is saying. And I don't always keep up with what Waters is saying, but that's the point, right? That's why I have you on Discord, so I could message you and be like, dude, what the hell were you saying?
No, I get that. I get that. And thank you for sharing the time with me. It really means a lot. And I hope your community got something out of this. And whenever you get it up, it means the world that you share it with the community, with the world stage. I know that it's going to be a pineal buster for some people, but I think because we already had our first conversation, that those who watch that first transmission are going to have even more value adding this one to the mix.
Yes, sir. Hey, brother, thank you so much as always. For everyone at home, I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you all soon. Much love. God bless.